Book of 1 Samuel chapter 4. I don't know how we're going to get through this whole thing. It's a lesson that I really, really love. A lesson that I really, really love. In the book of 1 Samuel chapter 4. I'm going to start out in verse number 21. I'm going to look at a time in Israel. They were going through a hard time. And the reason they were going through a hard time was because of the lack of proper leadership. They had a man of God named Eli, who was the man of God at the time, who could not do anything to raise his children right. He lost the respect of the people because he couldn't raise his family right. And yet he, in turn, put them in leadership positions, which they did not deserve to be in. They inherited those positions because of their dad. In 1 Samuel chapter 4, verse 21, the Bible says, "And she named the child Ichabod, saying, The glory is departed from Israel, because the ark of God was taken, and because her father-in-law, which was Eli, and her husband." And she said, "The glory is departed from Israel, for the ark of God is taken." You have a time in Israel when they went to battle. The ark of God was taken by the Philistines, and the man of God, her father-in-law, and her husband were both now dead. She had been expecting. The war comes. Her husband and father-in-law, the man of God at the time, died. She's left to raise this child alone. She names it Ichabod, because she says the glory of the Lord is departed. That was her opinion. You have to always remember, when a man declares something many times, it's his opinion unless he is quoting God. And that was her opinion. She believed the glory of God had left him. Now, truly, God's glory did not leave him. They had left God. Let's turn now to chapter 7. Chapter 7 of 1 Samuel. We're going to stay in 1 Samuel. We're just going to go a few verses here and there. But we're going to jump through it. 1 Samuel chapter 7, verse number 3. It says, "And Samuel spake unto all the house of Israel, saying, If ye do return unto the Lord with all your hearts, then put away the strange gods and Ashtaroth from among you, and prepare your hearts unto the Lord, and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines." You see, the glory of God had not departed. They had departed from God. They had started worshiping false idols. And they were told simply by the man of God now, which was Samuel, who had taken the place of Eli. Samuel says, if you'll just turn back to God, if you'll just put away the idols, if you'll just do what you're supposed to do, the Lord will deliver you. Verse number 8. 1 Samuel 7, verse 8. The Bible says, "And the children of Israel said to Samuel," this is important, "Cease not to cry unto the Lord our God for us, that he will save us out of the hand of the Philistines." Man of God, don't stop praying for us. Don't stop praying for us. Don't give up on us. Keep praying. Verse 9, and Samuel took a sucking lamb and offered it for a burnt offering wholly unto the Lord. And Samuel cried unto the Lord for Israel, and the Lord heard him. And as Samuel was offering up the burnt offering, the Philistines drew near to battle against Israel. He's in the process of offering to God a sacrifice, and here come the Philistines, all ready. They're not waiting until he's done. They're coming. But the Lord thundered with a great thunder on that day upon the Philistines, and discomfited them, and they were smitten before Israel. God stepped in and delivered them, like he can do. Verse 11, and the men of Israel went out of Mizpah, and pursued the Philistines, and smote them, until they came under Bethkar. Then Samuel took a stone, and set it between Mizpah and Shin, and called the name of it Ebenezer, saying, Hitherto hath the Lord helped us. So the Philistines were subdued, and they came no more into the coast of Israel. And the hand of the Lord was against the Philistines all the days of Samuel. As long as Samuel was going to be alive, God was against the Philistines. Because they had a man of God in the proper place, right with God, in touch with God, praying to God. The lesson's not about saying, we're going to get to somebody who I really want to look at. We've seen two men of God. But here's the problem. We're going to get to where we see the people of Israel did not want even Samuel to be their leader. Because Samuel, unfortunately, is going to go and do the same exact thing that Eli did. He's going to raise his children wrong, and he's going to put them in positions of leadership that they didn't deserve to be in. So in chapter 8, verse 1. And it came to pass when Samuel was old, that he made his son judges over Israel. Leadership positions. Now the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second Abiah. They were judges in Beersheba, and his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, and took bribes, and perverted judgment. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together, and came to Samuel and to Ramah, and said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. The problem here, here's where our lesson's going to go. Be careful. Be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for. You see, God had already gotten rid of his man of God. He has a right to. God is holy. He's just. He had already gotten rid of his man of God, Eli. He had removed him out of the way, brought in Samuel. God did that. When Samuel dies off, can't God do the same exact thing and remove Samuel and his sons who are living wrong and bring in another man of God? Can he not do the same thing he did just years before? Yes, he can, because he's God. But instead they said this, we want to make a change. Because Samuel, we don't like the way your sons are going. We don't want them inheriting the position. So we want a king. And here it is. Verse 5. The last part. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. Give us somebody in leadership in our nation like everybody else has. We want to be like everybody else. We want their government form. We want their leadership. We want to be like everybody else. Verse 7, And the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto thee. For they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. God said they've chosen a king. I've always declared myself, God has always declared himself to be the king of Israel. He was always been declared to their king. And they're like, we want a human king. We want someone physical that we can see. We want to be like everybody else. Get rid of the judges, get rid of the prophets. We don't want that leadership anymore. We want a king like everybody else. And God says, give it to them. Listen to what they say. Here's the man I want to look at. I went through all of that to get to a man who will probably not get completely into it. We may. But if we don't, you got your Bible. You can finish reading it when we're done and finish the story. A man named Saul. You see, now we have the children of Israel. And they said, we want a king. God says, give them what they ask for. Saul is what they ask for. And if you will study this out, you will find that he is the exact man to a T that they wanted as king. Everything they demand in a king will be found in this man. Everything. Everything they demand will be found in Saul. Verse number 10. Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked of him a king. And he said, this will be the manner of the king. And he goes into a list, I'm not going to read it, from 10 to 18. He said this is what that king is going to do. He's going to take all your stuff, basically. This king is going to take your stuff. You have to give it to him. You owe it to him because he's your king and he has that right. He's going to take all your stuff. Just warning you ahead of time, the man that you're choosing is going to take all your stuff. Not exactly every penny of it, but if you look it up, he'll just take your best. He doesn't want all, he just wants your best. Verse 14, he'll take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, even the best of them. And what really amazes me, look at verse 14 if you don't mind. 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 14, when he says he's going to take you your best, I want you to think about it. The very last phrase in that verse, and will give them to his servants. You may be someone that is an outstanding citizen of the nation. And he's going to take up the best of what you have and just give it to his servants. Someone who's even below you. He doesn't even care about you. He'll reward his servants. This guy's got a good field. You want it? You can have it. I've inherited this. I've worked hard to develop it. Yeah, I got a servant here. He did a good job for me this week. You know, he kept the tea made. You know, sweet tea is important to have around the house. Servant made sweet tea for me all week long, kept it in. He gets your field. He's going to take your best and give it to his servants. When you stop and think about it, that just doesn't seem fair. To look out on something that you've worked all your life and see someone who doesn't even deserve it come along and someone else take it from you and give it to them. They were warned. 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 19. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, Nay, but we will have a king over us. No matter what you say, we will have a king. Whether that be one way or another, we're going to get what we want. Be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for. I want you to look at verse 20 because here's some of the demands. And this guy, to meet the qualifications, he's going to be in verse number 20. That we also may be like all the nations. So this king has to be like all the other nations, the leadership. And that our king may judge us. He's going to be able to judge between the right and the wrong of the nation. and go out before us and fight our battles. We want a man who is a warrior, who will not lead from the back, but will lead from the front. He will lead us, and he'll go out and fight our battles. This guy's, we want a warrior, a fighter. That's what we want. Verse 21, Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of the Lord. Lord, this is what they asked for. This is what they want. Lord, you said to give them what they want. This is what they want. All right, Lord, would you pick a man that fits that description? That's what they're asking. The Lord said unto Samuel, hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. Samuel said unto the men of Israel, go ye every man unto his city. Chapter 9, verse 2. It's verse Samuel. It says, and he had a son, it's talking about a father, said, whose name was Saul, a choice young man, and a goodly. This young man's got a reputation. And there was not among the children of Israel a goodlier person than he. From his shoulders and upward, he was higher than any of the people. I'm pointing some of these things out because these are very, very, very important. His height was very, very important. Why? Why is it so important that he's so tall? Who cares that he's so tall? Does the king, as long as he fits into all the other descriptions, being a judge, being someone who can judge between right and wrong, being someone who can go in and out into battle and fight battles, does it matter how tall? Does it matter his height? Honestly, does height matter? It doesn't. Why does it make a big deal about his height? Because God knew what they wanted. And that height is very important to say why. We'll get to it. Let's look at verse number 18. Then Saul was out looking for his father's animals. Then Samuel answered Saul, verse 19, and said, I am the seer. Go up before me into the high place, for ye shall eat with me today, and tomorrow I will let thee go, and will tell thee all that is in thine heart. So the man of God says, Saul, you're going to go eat with me? We're going to talk about some things. Everything that's in your heart, we're going to talk about it. Verse 20, and as for thine asses that were lost 3 days ago, set not thy mind on them. Don't worry about them. They're not lost. It says, for they are found, and on whom... And then he switches over. Don't worry about your animals. And he says, on whom is all the desire of Israel? Is it not on thee and all thy father's house? He didn't come from a most wealthy, well-known family. And the man of God says, hey, the whole desire of Israel is in you and your dad's house. Just came looking for my animals. Well, what do you mean? Everybody's looking at us. That's what's going on. They want you as king. Verse number 25. When they were come down from the high place into the city, Samuel communed with Saul on the top of the house. And they arose early, and it came to pass about the spring of the day that Samuel called Saul to the top of the house, saying, up, that I may send thee away. And Saul arose, and they went out, both of them, he and Samuel, abroad. And as they were going down to the end of the city, Samuel said to Saul, bid the servant pass on before us. And he passed on. But stand thou still a while, that I may show thee the word of God. Samuel said, stand still, I'm going to show you what God has. In chapter 10, verse 1, then Samuel took a vial of oil, and poured it upon his head, and kissed him, and said, is it not because the Lord hath anointed thee to be captain over his inheritance? I believe the Bible is very important in its wording. Very important. And do you realize he never said he's anointed to be king over Israel? He just gave him a military title. A military leadership title. You're the captain over Israel. This is what God wanted. They wanted a king They wanted someone who could judge. They wanted a military leader who would lead them into battle. The reason they wanted a king was because they lost a battle. They lost the Ark of the Covenant in war. And truly all they really wanted was someone to lead them in war. That's truly all they wanted. They really didn't want a king who was going to do what he should do as a king. They just wanted a military leader. So at the beginning, all he's anointed is as a captain over Israel. And then you know what happens? Like all good stories, everybody goes home happy. That's how all good stories end, isn't it? And that's what happened. They went home happy. Now let's look at chapter 10, verse 9. Chapter 10, verse 9 says, Saul's returning home. And it was so that when he had turned his back to go from Samuel, God gave him another heart. And all those signs came to pass that day. When they came thither to the hill, behold, a company of prophets met him. And the Spirit of God came upon him, and he prophesied among them. On his way home, God changes his heart, gives him a heart for right things, a spiritual leadership position, ability, and he goes out and he prophesies with the men of God. God gives him at this time the ability to judge between right and wrong. Not only is he anointed as the military leader, he's now been given a heart to be able to do right, to be able to judge between right and wrong. Isn't that what they asked for? A judge? A military leader? That's what they asked for. Verse 15, 1 Samuel 10. Saul's uncle said, Tell me, I pray thee, what Samuel said unto you. Saul said unto his uncle, He told us plainly that the asses were found, but of the matter of the kingdom, the nation of Israel, being the leadership, this is whereof Samuel spake, he told him not. He never even told his family what he was anointed to do. He came home, said everything's fine. I was told that the animals are found. Everything's good. He's home. Now, chapter 10, verse 23, verse 22. They're looking for somebody who, let's go a couple verses back, verse 19. It says, And ye of this day rejected your God, Samuel talking to the people, who himself saved you out of all your adversities and your tribulations. And ye have said unto him, Nay, but set a king over us. Now therefore, present yourselves before the Lord by your tribes and by your thousands. And when Samuel had caused all the tribes of Israel to come near, the tribe of Benjamin was taken. Now Samuel is doing something public. When he had caused, verse 21, the tribe of Benjamin to come near by their families, the family of Matri was taken. And Saul, the son of Kish, was taken. And when they sought him, he could not be found. This guy is picked out of the lineup, but he's not even there. How can you pick a guy out of the lineup who's not even there? Go to the prison. You accuse someone of a crime. They have a lineup. And you stand on one side of the window. You can see through, and they can't. And they say, which one did it? He's not here. But we know who did it. That's the situation, right? We know who we're supposed to pick, but he's not here. Verse 22. Therefore they inquired of the Lord, for the Lord, really, the guy that you want us to anoint as king, seriously, God, where is he? Who is he? Therefore they inquired of the Lord further if the man should yet come thither. And the Lord answered, Behold, he had hid himself among his stuff. This guy's hiding. He doesn't want the leadership position. He's a humble man. He does not want that leadership position. He just wants to spend time with his family, take care of his dad's animals. He wants to be home. He's got a good heart now. God gave him a heart to be able to discern between right and wrong, to do right. He doesn't want the leader. He doesn't want that position. Verse 23, they ran and fetched him thence. And when he stood among the people, he was higher than any of the people from his shoulders and upward. Who cares about height? Why is it making a big how tall Saul is. Why is it making a big deal about it? Who cares about height? Verse 24, and Samuel said to all the people, See ye him whom the Lord hath chosen. But there is none like him among all the people. And all the people shouted and said, God save the king. Then Samuel told the people the manner of the kingdom. This is how it's going to be. And wrote it in a book. And laid it up before the Lord. And Samuel sent all the people away, every man to his house. Everyone go home. We've anointed the king. And then the next verse. And Saul also went home to Gibeah. Alright, I've been anointed the king. See you guys, going back home. Anointed his captain, military leader. Given the heart to judge right and wrong. He is meeting all the requirements. Now the people have said, God said he's king. We want him as king. And then they all go home. Verse 26, and Saul also went home to Gibeah, and there went with him a band of men whose hearts God had touched. But the children of Belial said, How shall this man save us? And they despised him and brought him no presents. But he held his peace. He didn't retaliate. Because he had a heart to do right. And to judge right and wrong. These guys didn't give him presents. He didn't turn on them. Who cares? Wasn't that important? Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing. But if you'll look at chapter 11. I'm going to pick a couple verses out here that are very, very important. Chapter 11. Verse 1, Then Nahash the Ammonite came up and encamped against Jabesh Gilead. And all the men of Jabesh said to Nahash, Make a covenant with us, and we will serve you. They're surrounded by the enemy. Hey, have you guys ever been surrounded by an enemy before? Been surrounded by all the other kids? It looks like they're going to pick on you. You're the only one that's surrounded by an enemy. And they said, just make a covenant. Make a covenant with us, we'll serve you. I want you to look at verse 2. This man is a ruthless leader. This is a Hitler of his day. This man is a Hitler. He says this. And Nahash the Ammonite answered them, On this condition will I make a covenant with you, that I may thrust out all your right eyes and lay it for a reproach upon all Israel. You let me pluck everybody's right eye out. Then I'll make a deal with you. Come on. Let me take all your right eyes out. That's a violent guy. Conditions of treaty. I'm going to take everybody's right eye and show how weak your God is. I'm going to lay it out. Come on. Doesn't sound like conditions for a treaty right there. That does not sound peaceful. That was his condition. Verse 4. Then came the messengers. Remember, Saul's hiding himself. Saul's humbling. Saul's not wanting to be in the position of leadership. I want you to see verse 4 though. Something changes in Saul. Then came the messengers to Gibeah of Saul and told the tidings in the ears of the people. And all the people lifted up their voices and wept. And behold, Saul came after the herd out of the field. He's out there working with the cattle. He's been anointed king. He's the judge. He's the leader of the nation. He's out there working cattle. Nothing wrong with working cattle. I want you to look though. Verse 5, Behold, Saul came after the herd out of the field, and Saul said, What aileth the people that they weep? And they told him the tidings of the men of Jabesh, what these guys have said about the conditions of peace, the treaty. The Spirit of God came upon Saul when he heard those tidings, and his anger was kindled greatly. And he took a yoke of oxen and hewed them in pieces, and sent them throughout all the coasts of Israel by the hands of messengers, saying, Whosoever cometh not forth after Saul and after Samuel, so shall it be done to his oxen. He took a couple of his oxen, just chopped them up, sent them out, pieces of his cattle. And he said, This is what's going to happen to your cows. You don't follow me into battle. Did they not ask for a military leader? Yes, they did. And here he steps up. They're finally getting exactly what they wanted. A man who says, follow me or else. This is how it will be done my way. Be careful what you ask. Have we seen anything about Saul's life that was wrong? Everything he's done up to this point has been right, actually. This man has been humble. This man has been able to judge and discern right from wrong, and he knows when the time is to stand up and take the leadership position. He is what they asked for. The exact thing that they asked for. In chapter 12, verse 3. This is where Samuel comes in. He says this. He says, behold, here I am. Standing before the children of Israel, he says, behold, here I am. Witness against me before the Lord and before his anointed. Whose ox have I taken? Whose ass have I taken? Or whom have I defrauded? Samuel saying, what have I done to you guys? What have I done against you guys? What have I taken? What have I stolen? How have I cheated? How have I gone wrong? You imagine the heart of a man of God who looks at his own people and says, there's a problem here. First, look at me. Look at me and judge me first. Where have I gone wrong first? Where have I gone wrong? Let's start there. Whom have I oppressed? Or whose hand have I received any bribe to blind mine eyes therewith? And I will restore it. You find any fault with the way that I've done things in this nation, I will make it right. Verse 4, they said, thou hast not defrauded us, nor oppressed us, neither hast thou taken aught of any man's hand. And he said unto them, the Lord is witness against you. You turn against the way the Lord has set it up, to do it and have it your own way. He's witness against you. That's what he said. I have not treated you wrong. His anointed is witness this day that ye have not found aught in my hand. And they answered, he is witness. Listen, he lays it on their shoulders and they look at him and just say, yeah, God is witness. God knows what we've done. With a who cares attitude. Yeah, God knows. Verse number 12. It says, and when ye saw that Nahash, the king of the children of Ammon, came against you, ye said to me, nay, but a king shall reign over us, when the Lord your God was your king. I want you to look at verse 13 now. This is very, very important. The wording of the word of God is very important. Samuel looks at the people, says, you've wanted a king, you have the requirements, you refused me, and I haven't done anything against you or wronged you. It's the way the Lord had set it up. Verse 13, now therefore, behold the king whom ye have chosen. This is the man, the very man that you wanted. Look at him. Now, it says, in whom ye have desired. And behold, the Lord hath set a king over you. Samuel points out Saul as the exact person they wanted in leadership. The exact person. Verse 14 says, if you will fear the Lord and serve him, I want you to pay attention to this because God can counter anything. He has that right and ability. He's God. He says, if you will fear the Lord and serve him and obey his voice and not rebel against the commandment of the Lord, then shall both ye and also the king that reigneth over you continue following the Lord your God. If you, as a people, will just do right, he says, then God will take care of you and your king. Do you realize he did not put the holiness, the righteousness, the blame on the leadership of the nation, he put the blame on the people of the nation and said, if you guys will just do right, God will take care of you and your king. He threw the king in there. God will take care of your king because of the holiness and the righteousness of you guys. Verse 15, but if ye will not obey the voice of the Lord, but rebel against the commandment of the Lord, then shall the hand of the Lord be against you, as it was against your fathers. It doesn't matter who's in charge. If your heart's not right, if your heart's not right, leadership can't get done what they need to get done. We know, but we want a king. We want a king that'll do this for us. We want to be like everybody else. Look at one more verse about the leadership that they had prior to the king. They asked, if you remember when we started this lesson, they asked Samuel to do something. They said, cease not to cry unto the Lord for us. Remember when they asked Samuel at the very beginning, don't stop praying for us? I want you to look in this same chapter. 1 Samuel chapter 12. Verse 23. Samuel says, moreover, as for me. You have a king now. You have what you asked for. Moreover, as for me, God forbid that I should sin against the Lord, ceasing to pray for you. Just because you have a king and you've rejected me, you've rejected God from being your king, I'm still not going to stop praying for you. Not going to stop. But I will teach you the good and the right way. Only fear the Lord and serve Him in truth with all your heart. For consider how great things He hath done for you. But if ye shall still do wickedly, ye shall be consumed, both ye and your king. I'm going to finish. Here's what I want to get to. They had exactly what they asked for. They never actually mentioned height anywhere in their demands. They never mentioned height in their demands. But my God sees further on down the road than you can see. And my God knows more than I know. And I believe God said this. I'm going to give them everything that they asked for, everything they want, but I'm going to give them one more special character or special ability. Because I see a giant named Goliath coming in a few years who is tall, and I'm going to send a warrior, a man who is a strong warrior, who is an equal. I don't believe he was as tall as Goliath. But God says, I will send my giant out to fight for you. I'll give him one more ability than you guys even asked for. One more ability. You see, I believe God gave him a tall king who fit the description because he knew that Goliath was coming. And I believe in my heart that God had given him everything he needed to go out one-on-one and fight with that giant. I believe that. But here's the problem. You have to remember, that was the king the people wanted. That was the king the people wanted. And I will tell you, if you'll study your Bible out, God had a plan coming down the road for a king of Israel. If you will study it, God was planning on putting a king over the children of Israel. And before Samuel died, remember when Eli died and God had a young man come up in the ranks named Samuel and put him in the position and removed Eli and his children? Eli's coming up, his children are doing wrong, and God has a young man coming up in the ranks that God is going to put in the position as king over Israel. God is already preparing this young man named David. But the people jumped the gun and said, we want to be like everybody else. We've got to have it happen. And God said, all right, I'll give you what you asked for. And I'll even give you more than you asked for. A man that's prepared to fight this battle down the road. The problem is, it was the man the people wanted. And it was not the leader that God had prepared coming up for his nation. Now, it's not the best lesson to teach when you go to a church and you preach. But if I could say anything, I would say this. Be careful what you ask for. Don't look at the man. Don't compare. Get a hold of God and ask God, Lord, give me what I need. Give me what I need. Not just my wants. Be careful what you ask for. I know the church is looking for a pastor. If you look for a man who fits what you want, and God knows what's coming down the road for this church, and you pick a man because it's someone that fits what you want and not what God has, you might get what you asked for. You might get a Saul who has and fits the abilities and descriptions. You might get that man. Don't just ask God for what you want. I beg you. I'm going to close. Beg God for what you need. Let Him work your life. What you need. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, I thank you for the Sunday school hours. Lesson in the life of Saul. Lord, up to this point, Saul has looked like one of the godliest men in the Bible. Lord, I, up to the point, have not found one fault in the life of Saul. Not one. Lord, I can find very, very few faults in the life of Saul in his entire story. And really, honestly, I can look at the life of David, Lord, and I can see so many faults in his life. David has failed you so many times, but yet he was the one that you had for the nation. Lord, help us in all of our life, in everything, whether it's business, whether it's family, whether it's whatever we do. May we look for your will in our life. What you know that we need, may we seek you as we truly ought to. In the name of Jesus, we ask all this. Amen. As we start in about 10 minutes for the main service.